I see a hand in the back aisle there.
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. Phil Jackson, registered voter in Amherst. As a previous speaker alluded to, the real issue with public safety is one of resources. And I'm not suggesting that public safety is more important than any other town service, but it's different. And it's different because it runs 24 hours a day.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt. I hear a point of order.
Is a non-town meeting member allowed to?
Oh, yes, sir, a registered voter in Amherst is allowed to speak, yes. I'm sorry, you may continue.
Thank you. So I'm not suggesting that public safety is inherently more important than other town functions, but it's inherently different. They run continuous operations 365 days a year. They run shift models. If you don't understand how shifts work, you have multiple teams that have to come in every day, and it's a real resource challenge to keep those shifts adequately staffed. The staff is highly specialized. You can't ask somebody to be a police officer or a firefighter or an EMT because somebody didn't show up for work that day. The work that they do is highly variable. It's unpredictable. Every call that comes in is the same, whether it ends up being a false alarm or an actual emergency. A certain number of resources have to be sent. Additional resources might have to be sent. And those resources aren't freed up to do other things until they're cleared from those calls. The work they do is obviously high stakes. It's dangerous at times. Margin of errors are very small. The consequences of making mistakes are huge. Most importantly, I think what this body fails to ignore, and the town chooses to ignore year after year, is that the staffing for fire and police is not pulled out of thin air. It's dictated by national safety standards. And under those standards, the Amherst Fire Department should have 56 firefighters. They're currently 16 short of that. The Amherst Police Department should have 75. So if you vote in these two, it's a drop in a very large bucket. So voting in an economic development director and hopefully those things that will alleviate some of the burden on private homeowners to carry all of the things that we try to fund in this town will introduce some revenue. I certainly hope the town manager and the finance director will find a way to actually develop a plan to bring these departments up to something approximating the strength that they should be at. And if you're a town meeting member and you haven't gone on a ride along and you haven't gone and talked to the public safety folks, I strongly encourage that you do it. 10 years ago, I was here in my first town meeting and there was a request for additional resources in the communication center. And I, like lots of people, said, they answer the phone. What do you need more of them for? And then I went and spent about 3 or 4 hours up there, and I absolutely had my mind blown by what these people did. The town of Amherst is not the sleepy little Mayberry place that you think it is. And if you go spend some time looking around and finding out what really goes on in this town and how this very professional force manages to do what they do with very, very little, I think you'd be shocked. So I hope you'll vote for the two officers tonight. It's a step in the right direction, but it's only a modest step in the right direction. Thank you.
Is there